those who want to become Buddhists to recite, then you can follow after me. No wordings, okay. Hopefully you all memorize.
It's on screen now.
Oh, it's on screen, okay, all right. So I'll chant this Namo Tassa 3 times, then followed by you can chant. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Okay, then the 3 refuges. So I'll chant one line, then you can repeat after me. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
So this concludes the 3 refuges and now the 5 precepts. So similarly, I'll chant one line and then you can repeat after me. So the first precept. Pāṇātipātā vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Pāṇātipātā vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Adinādāna vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Adinādāna vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Kāmesu micchācārā vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Kāmesu micchācārā vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Musāvādā vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Musāvādā vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Suramēraya majjapamādāthāna vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
Suramēraya majjapamādāthāna vērāmani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi.
So this concludes the 5 precepts, yeah? Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami silena sugatiṃ yanti silena bhoga sampada silena nibbutiṃ yanti Tasma silang visodaye sadhu
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so that's it, right? Yeah, so have a seat. So I believe we begin off with a bit of meditation. How long you want to sit? Because today's topic is on Samadhi, you know. So 5 minutes not enough lah. Eh? So must maybe 1 hour. No, okay. I don't need to talk already. Okay. So we can find a comfortable position. Yeah, make sure you're seated comfortably. Your back's upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to watch the breath, feel the breathing. Yeah. So for this particular exercise, we start off with relaxing the body first. Relaxing the body first. So you can feel the body, and when you feel the body, whatever sensation appear, you just make peace with them. You must intentionally label a good thought, wish it well and happy. So it can be a painful sensation, tension, aching, itchiness, whatever it is, whatever sensation appear, we try not to struggle, no fighting, no clinging. So the way we do it is learn to make peace with it. So mentally we just label, okay, wish you well and happy. New sensation appear, wish it well and happy. And we call this labeling right thought. Yeah, right thought. Some people say meditation means no thinking. If you no thinking, there's a 99% chance you'll be falling asleep. That's what we do before we go and sleep, right? We just lie down and do nothing, then we fall asleep. So the sensation itself, those tension, painful feeling or whatever, nice feeling, we call this mindfulness of the body and feelings. So that is your physical evidence, your personal evidence. So whatever evidence appear, whatever obvious sensation appear, then you need to intentionally label, wish it well and happy. So we make friends, make peace with that sensation. And the repetition is called right effort. New sensation appear, wish it well and happy. Once you do not repeat only, then the mind will be dragged away. It will be drifting off somewhere. Okay, so the more you generate this right thought, it should reduce the craving of aversion. Yeah? It's either greed or hatred that can aggravate the craving. So by using loving kindness, we sort of reduce this craving, and it will manifest in a kind of peace. So the more craving we have, then the mind gets more agitated, more stress, more tension. And no matter what happens, you find your mind how peaceful or how turbulent, keep on staying on the middle path, keep on generating the right thought, wish it well and happy, keep turning the Dharma wheel. Okay, then we can now find the area of attention where you want to feel your in and out breathing. And basically we call this the breath body. So some people want to feel below the nostril, above the upper lip. Some people wear masks, so you cannot feel that, never mind. Then some people want to feel the abdomen region. Yeah? And some people may want to continue feeling the entire body. So you just find one that suits you. To me, it doesn't matter which spot, as long as you're able to feel the movements of the in and out breathing. So once you've found your area of attention, then you stick with that. Every inhalation, exhalation, let it be a natural reflex action. No need to control. Do not force, do not direct. Let it be your reflex action. Let it breathe naturally by itself. But we do the same thing, the same thought. Every inhalation, wish the breath well. Exhalation, wish the breath happy. Intentional labeling. So this is the minimal rate you must label. Anything slower than that, there's a high chance the mind will drift off. And if, let's say, your mind is more sensitive, maybe one inhalation, you can feel multiple changes in sensations. Then you go for the higher count. The more the merrier. Okay, and if you find your mind relatively calm, we call this the baseline level. There will be a certain point where the mind will settle until it cannot settle anymore. Right? That's like the baseline level. So no matter what happens, keep on wishing the in and out breath well and happy. Okay, and now we are going to add some insight, some wisdom. We can actually create some detachment and calm the mind further. So we can now reflect on impermanence instead of loving kindness. So every in and out breath, there's always arising and passing, always change, always impermanence. So you just pick any label that is associated with change, and we keep on intentionally label. Every in and out breath, impermanence, you want to use anicca, you want to use rising, falling. And then your challenge is to see how far can the mind settle. how far can the mind detach? Is there the starting point or the origin of the source of this craving? Okay, and before we conclude this formal sitting, just a gentle reminder that we still can be mindful of impermanence. We can keep reflecting on impermanence in all our activities, standing, sitting, walking, lying down. And with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, informally still can generate right thought. Okay, very good morning, rise and shine. Yeah. Okay, we wait for the rest to stream in. Oh, now it's sharing this manner. Okay, so right from the laptop. Okay, so today's topic, types of samadhi. Let's see a show of hands. How many of you are like keen in meditation? One. Okay, so the rest not keen in meditation. Later on, the talk may sound gibberish to you, or may not make sense to you. So try to tolerate. Okay, who have not officially like learned any meditation before? Any meditation classes? Okay, one person. Okay. Also, if it doesn't make sense to you, never mind. Just tolerate with me. Okay, so for the rest of, let's say, the so-called meditation community, this topic hopefully can give some light, because sometimes samadhi can be a very abstract topic, and it can be used in many contexts. Some people think, hey, samadhi means total stillness, no breathing, your brain activity stop, everything stop, no breathing, no eating, stuff like that. And some people think, oh, samadhi already means you can fly. You can fly. After you enter samadhi, you can fly and stuff like that. So there's many, actually many kinds of samadhis. Many kinds of samadhis. And I'm not sure which kind of samadhi you're interested. Hopefully not the one that does the flying or predicting 4D numbers and stuff like that. Okay, so we'll introduce the types of samadhis, mostly within the Buddhist context. I believe the Hindu context will have a different classification also, right? So I'll just share from the Buddhist scripture point of view. Yeah? So there's this particular sutta, which I'll be sharing later. It's called this Samadhi Sutta. It's from this Anguttara Nikaya 4.41. So the Buddha mentioned there are 4 different kinds of samadhis. 4 different kinds of samadhis. So the first one is actually the jhanas. So I think the Buddhists might be quite familiar with this term, jhanas. Normally is mentioned in the Noble Eightfold Path, the 8th of the Eightfold Path, called right concentration. And it is normally defined as the 4 jhanas. Yeah, so the first kind of samadhi mentioned here is the jhanas. And its function is to lead one to peace and calm and contentment. So that is the first kind of samadhi. Yeah? And the second kind, maybe a bit more interesting, leads to this divine eye, leads to higher knowledge and vision. So this second kind of samadhi requires visualization. So some people say, meditate, must see bright light, must see this, see that. So that kind of meditation will lead to the second kind. Yeah? Visualization kind of meditation will lead to this, we call divine eye, higher knowledge and vision. And the third kind of samadhi is actually more on sharpening one's mindfulness. So a person observe impermanence, arising and passing, will lead to the third kind of samadhi. So vipassana is a kind of samadhi also. Some people think, vipassana is just rising and falling, or there's no samadhi. So the vipassana can lead to a kind of samadhi, a kind of vipassana samadhi. And the fourth kind of samadhi mentioned here is if a person is liberated or close to liberation. Yeah, then they'll experience this fourth kind of samadhi. Yeah, if let's say they pursue the third one, they reflect and they know how to detach, and eventually they will reach the fourth kind of samadhi, which is only experienced by enlightened beings. So some people call it the pure mind, the pure citta, or the pure awareness, whatever kind of pure thing you want to call it. So that is the liberated mind. Okay, so when I introduce these four, some people may think, jhanas means must see light, or jhanas means must have wisdom, or jhanas means must be enlightenment. No? Some people have different understanding. So by introducing these four types, actually these four types are separate, each on their own. But some people can also combine. So these practices can also be combined. Like, let's say for my classes, I will combine maybe the first kind and the third kind, for example. Yeah. Because if a person just do jhanas alone, without any discernment, without any reflection, then it may not necessarily be considered right concentration. It's just jhanas. Yeah? And a lot of times in the suttas it's mentioned, okay, a person may have jhanas, yeah, if they do not have right reflection after they pass away, that karma from that jhanas may lead them to certain heavenly worlds for some time. Once they use up the karma over there, then they go back down again. Come back down, maybe even downgrade even to hell realm or animal realm or ghost realm. So this is jhanas without insight may lead one to. Yeah? So it's important to have especially the third one. Or all Buddhist schools will eventually will lead to the third one, third and the fourth one. Yeah, so some systems may just emphasize maybe the first one or the second one first, but eventually will lead to the third one. Yeah? And some schools will just go to the third one, just do vipassana only. Yeah? So there are different approaches, and if I'm not wrong, maybe your patron here, Ajahn Brahm, maybe he want to do the first two, the jhanas and also see light, and maybe recall past lives even. So that's the common method used in the, let's say, the Visuddhimagga also. So there are few strategies around. So I'll just introduce them one by one, and then later on we'll discuss what are the stereotypes. Now, some people may mix them, may the first one equal, is it the fourth one, and stuff like that. So some people are not very sure. So I'm just using different sutta case studies to kind of differentiate them, so that you have a clearer understanding. You know, some people want to practice, they want to aim for a certain thing, but then the practice is not the correct cause, not the right cause and condition. And it doesn't lead to the sort of expected kind of result. So it's good to know, at least from the sutta point of view, what are the different practices which leads to the different kinds of results. Yeah, so I'll just introduce the first one. Okay, so the first one, probably who have not seen this kind of thing before? The jhanas. Okay, so this is the supposedly the right concentration. So this table talks about the 4 jhanas, first, second, third, fourth. Different levels of, we call withdrawing from the senses. When you seclude the mind, let's say a person keep on focusing on the breath or focusing on a certain mantra, then they keep chanting, then they just ignore the distractions around you, then the mind will sort of evolve. There are different levels of calmness, different levels of stillness. So if let's say the person do the breath meditation, for example, they may enter the first level of concentration, and the symptoms when they enter in the first level will have this thing called piti and sukha. Is joy and pleasure, or some other translation use joy and happiness. Sukha is happiness. So they will experience a nice emotion. It's not like everything's still quiet, then nothing, they don't know what's going on. So there will be certain symptoms to give you a sign that you're on the right track, or you're on a certain track, on a certain journey, which demarcation, right, you're at. So the first jhana will have these kind of emotions and other kind of distracting thoughts. We call this directed thought and evaluation. So these are actually background cluttering thoughts. Background cluttering thoughts. So some scholars will interpret it as first jhana means must have thinking. Second jhana onwards, no thinking. So actually no. Every level of concentration will have thinking. I'll show the sutta later. So the first level of concentration is basically in that state of calmness itself, there will be some other background cluttering thinking processes, right? And if they proceed on to the second level, then they will experience lesser cluttering of thoughts. So they will still have this joy and happiness. And if they move to the third column, can you see my mouse? Okay, cannot see now, so never mind. If you go to the third column, then you see you have a different kind of emotion. You have this thing called pleasure and equanimity. So you have a different nice emotion at the third level, and at the fourth level will not have any more joy or happiness. So the fourth level is just equanimity. So it's a neutral and supposedly kind of alert or refreshing kind of experience. And it is normally described, the fourth level can strengthen one's mindfulness. It's not quiet, and it's not the same as sleeping. Sleeping also equanimous. Sleeping also equanimous. No joy, no happiness. You're unconscious. You don't know what's going on. So that's sleeping. But this one, you are conscious. You're aware. You're alert. So this one is that's the difference. All right. So this is just theory only. So I'll just skip through, because if you really want to experience it, it might don't know take how long already. Okay, so in total, at least in the Buddhist classification, there are these 8 jhanas. 8 jhanas. 8 jhanas. So the first 4 we already mentioned in the table from the previous slide. And the 5th onwards, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, these are infinite space, infinite consciousness, all the way to this neither perception, non-perception. This one is, we call the formless concentration. Formless, no form. And whereas the first 4 are called the form concentrations. Form concentrations. So, and these practices are actually founded before the Buddha. Before the Buddha. It's mentioned in the Buddha's life story. Before he got enlightened, when he was still practicing asceticism, he went to look for 2 teachers. So the first ascetic teacher, his name is called Alara Kalama. So he taught him this concentration called the realm of nothingness, which is the 7th level of concentration. Very high already. Very high. 7th level concentration. So the Buddha, the Bodhisattva Gautama, ascetic Gautama, He was meditating. He managed to reach this level. He confirmed the teacher also confirmed. And this Alara Kalama told him, come, stay with him and teach together. So at that time, this school of thought, they believe it's by freezing the karma, you know. If everything keeps still, keep quiet, then that is the ultimate happiness. But then, no, he found it something not right there, because he need to walk, he need to talk, he need to makan, he need to go toilet. So there's movement. You cannot have total stillness, no, 24/7. So something's missing, you know. So he decided, okay, leave the first teacher. No, he cannot get the answer he wants. He went to the second teacher. So this second teacher is this Udaka Ramaputta. So he taught him the 8th level of concentration, even higher. It's called the neither perception nor non-perception. Very long name. Yeah, so very confusing. Yeah, so in this state of concentration also, he achieved it. He went to the teacher and told him. So the teachers confirmed, yeah, you did achieve it. So this time around, this Udaka Ramaputta invite the Buddha to become the teacher. So they no longer become equals, no longer teach together. He said, okay, so Udaka Ramaputta decide to let this ascetic Gautama take over, become the teacher. But then also same problem. The philosophy is the same thing, also freezing the karma. Yeah? So he still need to move, he still need to walk and talk and stuff like that. So you cannot totally freeze the karma. So he decided to change to the other school, which is torturing yourself, burning the karma. Yeah, so of course, we know the story, he's fasting and starving and stuff like that. So eventually he founded the middle way. He founded the middle way. So before he found the middle way, he rediscovered the first 4 jhanas. And then you're thinking, how come Tobalik one? How come the other way around? Eh? Yeah, so very interesting. So the yogis at that time, probably they didn't do the first 4 jhanas. Maybe they chant a certain mantra or they think of a certain concept and they skip the first 4 and immediately go to the formless concentrations. Yeah, so that was the prominent practices at that time. So the Buddha had to recall when he was a prince, when he was a small boy, 7 years old. No, he was like observing some plowing festival. Then he ponteng, he find it boring or what. Then he ponteng, he sat under the tree, or he watched some animals being eaten. And then he started watch his breath. And he managed to enter the first jhana as a boy. First jhana. So he decided to go through that route. So he rediscovered how to enter the first, second, third, fourth. So this one, no teacher taught him. He discovered himself. Because he discovered himself, that's why the Buddhists define right concentration as the first 4 levels of concentration. The Buddha's trademark. Okay, so anyway, these first 4 is very closely linked to right mindfulness, because it's very intertwined with mindfulness of the body. That's why it's called form concentrations. Yeah, you need to be aware of this evidence. It can be the breath, it can be the elements, whatever sensation it is. So it's a bit more grounded, whereas the formless concentrations are a bit more conceptual. You need to keep on repeating the concept before the mind enter these states of concentration. So it's a very different approach to entering these different levels of concentration. But of course, if a person does from the grounding, and they know how to go level by level, they can also reach the formless levels of concentration. I don't want to talk too much. This might sound too lofty, but never mind. So this is just an intro of these concentrations with regard to the Buddha or his life story or what's his discovery. So the Buddha's enlightenment, how he did it was he entered the first jhana all the way step by step to the 8th, and he eventually let go of the 8th. Yeah, imagine he can let go the highest so-called kind of peace and go beyond. So that going on beyond is called cessation, a kind of nibbana. Yeah, it's a kind of nibbana. So that is the Buddha's route. Yeah. Okay, so then now I'm going to use case studies from the various sort of the teachings or scriptures from the suttas. Yeah? So this is just one example. One of the levels of concentration called this dimension of infinity of space. That is the 5th level of concentration. So I go backtrack again. Yeah, infinite of space, that's the 5th level. So in this Jhana Sutta, they actually mention every level, the first level all the way to the 8th level. But because the screen is too small, so I just take one of the levels to just give example only. It applies to all levels. So if a person enters and remain in this infinity of space, he regards whatever phenomena there is connected with feeling, perception, fabrication, and consciousness, which is your 5 aggregates. As inconstant, which is impermanence, stressful, suffering, disease, cancer, error, painful, a lot of things to think about. Or whole list of reflection: error, painful, affliction, alien, disintegration, emptiness, non-self. So a lot of reflection. So we just pick one. So normally we use impermanence. So even inside the concentration, you still need to reflect on all this. So there is lots of thinking involved, lots of reflection involved. So that is for jhanas. So that is we call the right concentration version. Of course, there are the non-reflection version. So in fact, a lot of even the meditation community, some of them, they don't want to start off with vipassana insight. So they straight away just want to do only samatha only. That means to keep quiet, no reflection, no thinking at all. So they might go through that route also. So for this case, the Buddha is combining both samatha and vipassana. Both samatha, which is entering these jhanas, and also reflection of impermanence together. So it's 2 in 1 combined. So that's the Buddha's addition. Okay, then we talk about the second kind, maybe a bit more interesting. So the second kind is about this, we call it development of this higher knowledge and vision. Higher knowledge and vision. So in this sutta, he mentions about a person need to be aware of this perception of light. They need to visualize this light, like the whole day and night. Morning, when there's light, you need to imagine there's light. At night, when there's no light, also have to imagine there's light. So that is it's a whole day affair. So there was one monk who did it to the extreme in the Buddha's time. It's Venerable Anuruddha. He's the monk foremost in the divine eye. So he practiced until he go blind. Because he practiced until he cannot fall asleep. So he all day bright, he never sleep, then he become blind. So the whole idea is don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. That's the moral of the story. So I'll talk more about the complications later, because this kind of issue is no joke one. Okay, so in this another sutta called the Iddhipada Vibhanga Sutta, talks about the 4 bases of psychic power. So it mentions about in order to develop all these special or supernatural abilities, one needs to do a certain kind of visualization exercise. So perception of the white light is one thing, and a few other kinds of visualization exercises. So it's mentioned in this particular sutta, right? But in that sutta, Iddhipada Vibhanga Sutta, probably there's insight involved, some reflection involved, so a person can get actually enlightened from this practice. So a person, let's say they do this number 2, which is this higher knowledge and vision. If they add insight, they still can get liberated. So that is officially in the suttas. But in practice, not many people may be suitable for this. Not everyone can be suitable for this. So I go to the next slide. So I'll introduce you what are these higher knowledge and vision. We call these higher knowledges in Buddhism. We have this thing called the 6 higher knowledges. Higher knowledge means abhinya. So we've got 6 of them, then they call it chalabhinyas. And there are 6 kinds of higher knowledges. So the first one is this psychic power, can fly, can walk through the walls and stuff like that. Things that you can find in your superhero comics. Yeah? That's the first one. Then the second one, called the divine ear. Some people can hear spirits or hear long range and stuff like that. So that's divine ear. And the third one, the mind reading ability. So that's the third one. And the fourth one, recollecting past lives. Yeah, recollecting past lives. And the fifth one, divine eye. We call this clairvoyance. Some people can see ghosts or see angels, see some other stuff. So this is divine eye. And number 6, so number 6 is only reserved for enlightened beings. So only those who are enlightened can experience number 6. So the first 5, all those fanciful stuff, we call this mundane higher knowledges. Mundane higher knowledges. That means it can be developed by anybody who does not wish to get enlightenment. Also, they can achieve it. For example, demons are born with this ability. Devil, the demon, are born with all this ability. They can teleport, can fly, can mind read, can all those. So at least in our scripture point of view. So demons are born with this. So some of them is through their physiology, they're born with this. Maybe their DNA or what. So the angels, the heavenly beings, the demons are born with this. I believe some might have seen some viral documentary film. There's, I think, an American boy. He can remember his past life as a pilot, World War II pilot. Yeah, so there are such incidences. So small children, there are research on this. They can remember their past lives. So some of them is physiology. And these abilities, like for example, I'm not sure whether you're aware, there's a documentary on the Cold War. So that's like between the US and Russia. That was like last time. They have this program for the psychics. They call the remote viewing. So those spies with some psychic abilities, they have this special program for them. They give them some training. And without physically being at the enemy's territory, they can just sit in their room and they can just visualize, oh, the enemy base is here and here. They can draw out and then they can bomb that place. So they can be used in, we call it non-spiritual matters. Non-spiritual matters. So that's why the first 5, we call these mundane higher knowledges. So that's why for usually in my class and my students, I don't encourage people to develop all this. You need to have certain pre-criteria. For example, in the Tibetan tradition, who practices Tibetan Buddhism? A few people. Before a person take up any initiation to visualize any bodhisattva or any deity, they have this purification ritual first. They need to have confession. Do a lot of confession purification ritual. They need to chant don't know how many times, 1,000 times of mantras, do how many 1,000 times of prostration to make sure they have enough good karma. So when they take up this practice and they start to visualize, in the case they happen to develop divine eye, at least the things they see will be quite pleasant. So imagine if a person is still full of bad karma, very negative, then I think in Theravada Buddhism we have this problem. Straight away, okay, see white light. Then they start this divine eye only. Then the whole day is horror movie. Right? Because if you're bad karma, what kind of beings will be attracted to you? Demons and evil spirits. So whole day is horror movie, and open the eye, it's scary movie. So that's the problem. So it might create emotional turmoil for some people. So not advisable for majority. So this is like for special case. So this is number 1. Number 2, for those who, let's say, are able to sort of control. So the first case, if you're unable to control, then you cannot control whatever you see. Then the second case, for those who are able to control, then this would become like your supernatural version of YouTube or supernatural version of Google. Whatever you want to kaypoh, then you want to see, right? Then you want to see, in my past life, where I keep my treasure, what's the password for this safe, how to get, yeah? Or in my past life, hey, what did my boyfriend and girlfriend do? So you want to kaypoh, right? So that is the problem. Then you end up, you become sidetracking. Whole day you'll be doing this kind of supernatural kind of entertainment, right? And you forget your practice already. So that's the second problem. So in order to know whether you're suitable for this practice, you need to check your internet search history. Yeah. If your internet search history is full of rubbish and entertainment, then this practice is not suitable for you. Or at least you're not ready, you're not mature enough to develop this practice. Yeah, don't pursue too far. Huh? So that's the second one. And the third one, like let's say recollecting past lives. How many of you heard of this past life regression therapy? Yeah, so I think quite a lot. So now this thing is like quite acknowledged in the, I don't know, maybe in the medical community, and they consider it quite authentic. Yeah, so I also heard some of the testimonies of some of the, I'm doing personal research. Huh? And nowadays, you don't need to spend many hours to sit. No? Some people, they want to sit down and meditate long hours to see past life. And they sit many, many hours. They cannot see anything. And they train for many, many years, cannot see anything. But some people just go for one session, past life regression therapy. One session only. Don't need to torture yourself and sit full lotus. Just lie down on the cushion, lie down on the sofa and the cushion. Then the hypnotherapist will just guide you. Then, oh, you can see past life already. Yeah, so now you can do this. So this, you have circular method. And somehow they have like a proven kind of protocol or kind of technique to guide one to see past life. So all these, we call this mundane higher knowledges. Yeah, mundane higher knowledges. Okay, so and regarding not breathing, not eating, yeah, so one of the sutta is Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So the Buddha actually offers to extend his lifespan to like 1 eon. So I do not know how long is this 1 eon. Huh? So he's like giving a hint to Venerable Ananda. He said, anybody that has perfected these 4 bases of psychic power can choose to live for 1 eon. So the Buddha was hinting Venerable Ananda to request him to stay longer, because there's, on the other hand, this Mara, which is the demon, also invited the Buddha to quickly pass away to Parinibbana. Yeah, because when the Buddha was about to reach enlightenment at time, or when he reached enlightenment, they sort of like had a bargain with Mara already. The Mara was dissuading the Buddha to stop his path, his journey to enlightenment, whereas the Buddha insisted he wanted to reach enlightenment, to start his, this religion, to have the disciples, monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen. So now he has fulfilled all this already. So the Mara is like telling the Buddha, you have met all these criteria, so time for you to go, right? So did the Buddha made a deal with the devil? I don't know. So that's the bargain. So Venerable Ananda didn't plead, didn't request the Buddha. Yeah, so the Buddha eventually, had to pass away into Parinibbana. Yeah, so this is the statement. Yeah, if you want, can remain for an eon or remain there for an eon. So at the background of this photo, there's this interesting yogi called Prahlad. So if I'm not wrong, he already passed away for 3 years already. So he passed away in 2020. But when I was still like a junior monk, when I was still like staying in Santi Monastery, the monks there were like a bit obsessed with fasting. So somehow I read the Malaysian papers and I came across this fella. They reported this yogi. Prahlad, he claimed to have not eaten and drank for 60 years, more than 60 years. That was like more than 10 years ago. So by the time before he passed away, it should be more than 70 years. without eating and drinking. So he's able to do it. Yeah, not eat and drink for more than 70 years. So I went to do a bit more research, watch some documentary, and then watch his interview. So he claimed that in his meditation, some goddess appeared to him and offered him to like feed him for the rest of his life, spiritual food. Don't have to eat anymore. He doesn't have to physically eat anymore. Then it's like reminding me of the Buddha's life story. There was one time when the Buddha was practicing this fasting for 6 years before he got enlightened. He was like about to die, Then these heavenly beings offered to infuse his body with heavenly honey, heavenly nectar, which the Buddha refused. But if the Buddha accepted, I think the Buddha don't have to eat also. Yeah. So for this case of Prahlad Jani, he claimed that this goddess able to give him this nutrition, right? Then he also quite poor thing because the Indian scientists and doctors want to test him. Then put him in this hospital and test him for I don't know how long. Then every time, maybe every hour or a few days, maybe draw his blood and test his saliva, his urine, whatever sample, test him. So very poor thing. So but there are, because of such modern life cases around, then at least kind of we know that such practices still exist. Yeah, these visualizations can lead to this we call suspended animation. Yeah, you can eat without. You can live without eating and drinking and stuff like that. And sometimes they put a camera, the live camera, and they fast forward. Who have heard of the story of the Buddha boy? Buddha boy, I have. So the cameraman put the crew, the camera stand and just film him for days. He just sit there and never get up. Yeah? So no, it's possible. People can do these kind of things. Okay, so then does jhanas equal to psychic powers? Yeah, does jhanas equal to psychic powers? So earlier on we talked about this development of this visualization can develop psychic powers. So does jhanas equals to this light or equals to psychic powers? So there are two suttas that talks about the case of Venerable Sariputta. So Venerable Sariputta is the right-hand man of the Buddha. Yeah, he's the foremost in wisdom. Foremost in wisdom. So the first one, first sutta, the Buddha praised Venerable Sariputta for being able to enter all the jhanas, first to 8, and even like cessation and beyond that. So that is the Venerable Sariputta has all the jhanas. Yeah, so that's the first case. And the second case is another story in this Junha Sutta. Both chief disciples of the Buddha were meditating in a cave. So the left-hand disciple of the Buddha is Venerable Moggallana. He's the monk foremost in psychic power. Foremost in psychic power. So the two contrasting monks, one foremost in wisdom, one foremost in psychic power. So both of them are meditating together. Both of them are friends. Yeah, so both of them are meditating together. So Venerable Sariputta is sitting at the entrance of the cave, facing the open air. Whereas Venerable Moggallana is sitting inside the cave, inside the darkness of the cave. Yeah, very dark, so cannot see anything outside. So what happened was, according to the story, two yakas, that means two heavenly beings, maybe like ogres or demons, they flew past and they saw this monk sitting outside with a shiny head. Probably he just shaved his head, very, very shiny. Then one of the yakas felt that the head so shiny, I feel like whacking the head. I feel like beating the head up. So he took his weapon, took the club, and then hamtam this Venerable Sariputta, and they flew off. So it's a hit and run accident. And what happened was, this Venerable Moggallana saw what happened because he got this divine eye. Yeah? So inside the cave, he ran out and asked Venerable Sariputta, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And Venerable Sariputta is like, "I got a bit of headache. Don't know why." And Venerable Moggallana is asking this Venerable Sariputta, "Do you see what happened?" according to this statement. I didn't see what happened. Yeah? But this Venerable Moggallana saw what happened. So Venerable Moggallana told Venerable Sariputta about the incident. These two yakas came and hit your head and stuff like that. So Venerable Sariputta praised Venerable Moggallana for his divine eye. So I think in return, Venerable Moggallana also like give consolation to Venerable Sariputta. You also have very good concentration. Yeah. If not any ordinary person being whacked by this yaka, the head will split, will split open. But because you have samadhi, at least kind of like a force field, a bit of reduced damage. Yeah? So this is the story. Okay, so does psychic power equals to enlightenment, or does enlightenment guarantee one to have psychic powers? So some people like to test the practitioner or test the monk whether you got psychic power, test you whether you can fly, or test you whether you got mind reading ability. They want to test you. So actually no. And this can be very dangerous. It's a misconception. Sometimes, especially in the superstitious, more superstitious community, when they sort of delve in like black magic, they believe that enlightened beings will be immune to black magic. Then they start to poison your food and stuff like that. So it can be very dangerous. So that's why nobody declare enlightenment. Very dangerous. Yeah. Okay, so there's this story, this sutta called Susima Sutta. So Susima is actually a spy, like from another belief group, another belief system. Yeah, so they were wondering, how come Buddhism is flourishing? How come the monks are growing, so many supporters? So this Susima decided to ordain and become a monk himself to see what's the secret ingredient and what's the formula of success. So he managed to ordain in front of the Buddha with a lot of monks, other monks present. Then somehow, after he ordained already, he managed to ordain, the Buddha approved his ordination. Then he overheard a group of monks, because there's a large crowd. So some of them are quite new, the monks. Then they declare enlightenment. So this Susima was so happy, wow, declare enlightenment. Okay, let's go and interview them. So interview this group of new monks. Did you declare enlightenment? And this new monk said, yeah, we declare enlightenment. So he straight away asked, are you able to recall your past lives? Then this monk said, no, cannot recall past lives. How about, can you recall other people's past lives? No, cannot. Then how about, do you have divine eye? Can you see the angels and ghosts and that kind of stuff? No, cannot. How about divine ear? No. Mind reading? No. How about psychic powers? Like all these, can you fly in the space, walk through the walls and stuff like that? Like in your X-Men comic. Yeah? Then all these enlightened monks say no. Then this the guy is like very disappointed. And what kind of enlightenment is this? What kind of enlightenment is this? So he decided to again approach the Buddha, since the Buddha is nearby, and reported to the Buddha. He wanted to know, he's very frank. He questioned this group of monks. They claim they're enlightened. How come don't have all this ability? So the Buddha said, you want to know what is this enlightenment? Can. So the Buddha taught him how to contemplate on the 5 aggregates. And after 5 aggregates, teach him how to contemplate on dependent arising or dependent origination. So nothing to do with past life. So after reflecting on dependent origination, he got enlightened. So this time the Buddha asked him, can you see your past life? He said, cannot leh. Can you see other people's past life? Also cannot leh. I asked all the questions, can you fly and all that, he cannot. So eventually this Susima understood, and then he asked forgiveness from the Buddha. So that is the story, so you can read yourself, this Susima Sutta. So regarding these X-men, I know a group of ex-monks, nothing to this. That means previously were monks, ex-monks, not. So these, they were Singaporean monks. They are One of them was more senior to me, and he claimed he's able to sit 14 hours straight without moving. And what was he doing in the 14 hours? He's doing his supernatural VR, virtual reality. That means he can see all the devas, see all the beings, then he hello with them, interact. Then over time, he's unable to differentiate this reality and that reality. So afterwards, got some issues lah. Then eventually disrobe. So that's the first case. And the second case. Second case is a monk more junior to me. So he also disrobed eventually. So what happened was, I think he's more mentally stable, but his intention was maybe not to seek enlightenment, but to explore this supernatural stuff. So maybe due to the influence of certain senior monks who always advocate seeing devas and seeing ghosts. So he also want to see devas, see ghosts. So he cultivate, managed to see, or rather see consistently these beings. So he decided to disrobe. Then he changed profession. So he became like a Taoist priest to catch ghosts. Catch ghosts. Because for Buddhist monks, we are not allowed to catch ghosts. But maybe for Taoist priests, they are allowed to catch ghosts. So he changed profession. So that's another incident I encountered. 2 ex-monks. So this is the reason in my class I don't encourage people to do all these things. You can sidetrack a lot. Okay, then the third one, mindfulness. So the third kind of samadhi is if a person always mindful of impermanence, always observe arising and passing of your these feeling, right, perceptions, thoughts, and stuff like that. So this is the third kind of samadhi. And I think I gave a talk, previously on the Bojjhangas, 7 factors of enlightenment. So this samadhi is normally referred to the number 6 one. The 6th factor. So if a person is always mindful of impermanence, the first 2 factors, they're always mindful of impermanence, eventually it will progress. The mind will settle down and have this concentration. Have this a vipassana kind of samadhi. And this samadhi is different from jhanas. Because in jhanas, you need to enter concentration first. I want to go back. Okay, maybe I go back. You need to enter concentration first to experience this joy. So this is the definition of the jhanas kind of concentration. You need to enter at least the first jhana first to experience joy. Whereas this Bojjhangas is the opposite, is the other way around. You need to have detachment first to have joy. And when the mind comes down, then you have concentration. So it's a different process. So this is the vipassana route. Okay, then the 4th kind. And the 4th kind is if a person is liberated, then to experience this 4th kind of samadhi. If a person continuously detached from the 5 aggregates, always contemplate on impermanence, and to experience a new kind of samadhi. You can find this more in these Maha and Chula Shunyata Suttas and the discourse on emptiness, the Theravada version. Okay, so without further ado, I shall open the floor to Q&A. I think due to time constraint, anyone can ask questions.
Thank you so much for the talk. My question is, for beginners, would you recommend meditating with a teacher or alone? Because probably after learning from your talk, probably not a good idea to be sidetracked.
Yes.
So, but I guess for beginners, they might not have a lot of access to monastics or teachers. Correct. So what would you recommend?
I would encourage the truth-seeking mentality. So at least the Buddha or his great disciples in his time, they were, we say, busy window shopping. Busy window shopping, as in they go to seek different teachers, and learn as much as they can. And if, let's say, they are unsatisfied or they cannot progress, and no matter how they try to kind of progress, then I think in Buddhist context, it's all right to look for other teachers. Yeah. All right.
Hi Bhante, thank
Yep.
you for the teaching. So I was wondering if having too much conceptual or theoretical knowledge of the jhanas, does it actually create a type of craving that prevents us from attaining it? Yeah, I guess in the same vein, like, is it better to not know so much? And is it possible to reach these states without having theoretical knowledge about them? Thank you.
Yeah, it is possible to reach sort of enlightenment. There are different routes. So I think, if I'm not wrong, there are at least two ways or two classifications. One is called Ceto Vimutti, that means liberation by awareness, liberation by mind. And the other route is we call Panya Vimutti, liberation by wisdom. Yeah, so I'm using the sutta definition. So liberation by wisdom, the Panya Vimutti, probably require one to know or differentiate the different kind of jhanas. It can be the first jhana all the way to the highest jhana. So at any level, as long as there's discernment, there's a reflection, one can reach liberation. So that's for the wisdom route. Whereas for the Ceto Vimutti, it's more like you just be hardworking, you just continue what you're doing, and then you just get the light bulb kind of thing. Yeah. So that's more like the Ceto Vimutti route. Yeah. Yeah. So it's possible. So in fact, most of the Buddhist communities now, the meditation communities, might be just gearing to the Ceto Vimutti route. Yeah. So those who sort of advocate the jhanas, usually they might delve more into the theoretical aspect only. Yeah. In terms of practice, not many. Yeah. Yep. All right. Ken.
Yeah, the question here. Thank you, Bhante. My question is about the first jhana.
Okay.
The first jhana, you have got 5 hindrances and the 5 factors of first jhana.
Yeah.
So as long as you practice the 5 factors, to get rid of the 5 hindrances, you can enter the first jhana. Can you elaborate on this? Is that the correct way?
I don't see it that way. In fact, the 5 hindrances can be overcome through right effort. That's according to this Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Yeah? That means you consistently apply this right effort, keep generating right thought, then that's how you overcome the hindrances. Yeah.
So, but if you go through the getting rid of the 5 hindrances with the 5 factors.
The 5 factors of the first jhana will appear naturally when a person renounces the sense sphere. The sensual sphere, the mind will naturally evolve. When it goes to the first jhana, it will have naturally these 5 factors. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, we have one question here.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
Bhante.
right.
That was really helpful.
Okay.
In the table, there was a part where I think it's the 4 jhanas table, and there was a section on the 3rd jhana where it says equanimity, and then the 4th jhana says neither pleasure nor pain. Could you enlighten a little bit about the difference between equanimity and non-pleasure or pain? And then in terms of practice, are there different levels of cultivating equanimity?
Yeah, okay. So equanimity, there's many different different spectrum. So you can find this in the, I think there's an unworldly sutta or something. Yeah, so the mundane, circular kind of, or the worldly kind of equanimity would be just a neutral feeling. So that is the worldly kind of equanimity. Or basically, if you see any crisis, you close your eye. So that is the worldly kind of equanimity, which is not the correct kind of equanimity. And we have the unworldly kind of equanimity, which is you detach from the sensual sphere. If a person enters, let's say, the 3rd or 4th jhana, they will experience this equanimity. So the mind is basically more stable, more calm, more contented. So this is through a certain level of maybe detachment or concentration. So you have this kind of equanimity. And eventually there is a beyond unworldly. So if a person practices insight, they learn to practice detachment, they'll develop the wisdom kind of equanimity mentioned in the 7 factors of enlightenment. So this is a different kind of equanimity from the jhanas equanimity. Yeah.
So the neither pleasure nor pain is a different equanimity from the equanimity in the third jhana, is it? Or how do we differentiate? Because
different depth. Yeah, different depth. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bhante Go, thank you very much for your presentation on Samadhi. You commented, but you didn't quite complete. You said that the 4 jhanas are peculiar to Buddhism, whereas the formless jhanas possibly existed even before the time of Buddha. So would you say that the cultivation of the 4 jhanas is sufficient for liberation?
Interestingly, one may not even need the jhanas for enlightenment. It's possible one may not even need the jhanas for enlightenment. So there are many suttas that talk about it. Things like about this Salayaka Sutta. If a person just observe 10 meritorious actions, basically they observe their 5 precepts very well, the 3 right actions, 4 right speeches, the 3 right thoughts. The Buddha guarantee the practitioner at the moment of death, they can have a range of wishes. They can be reborn in future as a wealthy human, a wealthy family, or a deva, or even they can wish to become an arahant right here and now. Yeah, so it's possible, yeah. At the moment of death, yeah. So a person doesn't even need jhanas even.
Any other questions from the floor?
Okay, anyone?
I guess if not, then I'll have one last question.
All right.
Phra Goh. I saw on one of your slides it says internal clarity. Can you maybe explain that a little for me?
Yeah, internal clarity would be the lack of these initial and sustained thought cluttering processes. Then you have this certain quietness compared to the first one. Yeah.
Thank you, Phra Goh.
Okay.
Let's say 3 sadhus to Phra Goh for the fantastic talk and Q&A.
Okay. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay.
And then we would like to request Phra Goh to lead us in sharing of merits and also request for blessing.
Okay, so now we'll dedicate merits, from contemplation. Hopefully you all can be mindful of impermanence throughout the whole day, so you can generate lots of merits, and we can dedicate it to whoever you want. Sabba roga vinimuto, sabba santa pavajito, sabba vera marikanto, nibuto cetuam pava, sabitiyo vivachantu, sabba rogo vinasatu, mate bhavatvantarayo 𝐂𝐔𝐍𝐃𝐀 bhava, abhivadana silisa nichang vuthapachayino, cattaro dhamma vadanti ayuwano sukhang palang, Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sadasoti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sadasoti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sankhanubhavena sadasoti bhavantu te. Sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.